Hey guys, this is Kelly. I am bringing to you my first ever YouTube video. I decided to join the land of YouTube after being inspired by so many wonderful YouTubers. I am using the October kit from Hip Kit Club, and this was full of Maggie Holmes, one of my favorites. And I am scrapbooking the companion page. You see the page on the left I did first, and I don't usually do two-page spreads, and I typically just have so many hurdles that I can't figure out how to fix when I'm doing a two-page spread that I prefer to do companion pages if I know that I'm going to have facing pages, meaning that some of the colors are brought over or same products, that kind of thing. And to me, it just makes it quicker. So quicker means more scrapbooking time for me. I love that yellow chevron, and I have not found a use for it yet, but I am determined that I will. And the other side is equally as lovely. It has a text on a cream background with some of the words highlighted in a corally peach color. So I am scrapbooking my son's first homecoming dance, and he is with a friend that is not a girlfriend, but that was a girl that he liked. So I decided not to do hearts because I didn't want him, I still want him to like the layouts, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I didn't want him to think that I'm trying to girl it up too much with all the hearts and the frou-frou stuff, but especially since she wasn't officially his girlfriend. And I have to apologize in advance. My camera, I thought, had everything in the field, and obviously it doesn't. So that orange polka dot strip that I just did is going at the bottom of my layout. And I will try to fix that in my future videos. So I go into layouts and I never know what I'm going to title it. You know, I just go play, have fun, and decided that the ever so original title of First Dance would be just perfect. And I am using my favorite thickers of all time. They are black glitter foam. And I love these, just like some other people have mentioned. You can fit longer titles in smaller areas. And I mean, black glitter, hello. And I found them in red and just got some, but I am on the search for other colors. So if you know of a place that has another color of these, if you would let me know, I would be so happy. So I'm going through, I did add a couple of things from my stash with this kit, and the tags are what I ended up adding. That tag right there will make it on the layout, and it is also from Maggie Holmes. This is just about entirely a Maggie Holmes layout, and as I'm looking, the only thing that is not would be the enamel dots and the mist. So yes, it would be a Maggie Holmes layout. So I am just inking the edges to get rid of that white border, and I am using Tim Holtz brushed corduroy. It's a nice brown, and I like the brown even with the black accents because it's just a nice brown. It's not too brown, it's not too red, and just gives it a little bit of a finishing look. So I am going to go ahead and commit to my strips. It's one of my favorite things to do, are strips on the top and the bottom, and sorry for my big head there. And I will frequently cut paper a little bit smaller than what I need and then just cut it in the middle to make things stretch, especially if it's one of my favorites. And Maggie Holmes lines are always my favorite, so I will try to make those stretch for as many layouts as I possibly can. So here I'm starting to bring out the die cuts, and I kind of do something that Nicole Jones does, except for maybe just a tad bit different. But I'm going through the die cuts and just pulling out things that I think maybe will work, or, you know, have the same colors, or the theme that I'm using. And if you have not gotten a package of these Maggie Holmes die cuts, you need to. it's, I don't know, maybe $4 or $5. And it comes with so many die cuts, it's actually almost obnoxious. I have to go through, and it's almost like overwhelming for me because it's so many. So that I'll just, randomly just pick out some and then put them away. And it, after using several die cuts on this layout, it still doesn't even look like I have, touched the die cut package. And I have done, I think, 4 layouts with this die cut pack, and it still looks like a brand new package. So here I'm deciding to go ahead and commit, and I didn't have my T-square ruler, so you see me being a little OCD about lining things up. I try not to be, but it's just hard. So I decided that Rose would be perfect for this layout. The girl in the picture, her grandmother, actually made Patrick's boutonniere for him out of a pretty rose, and I just thought that was really sweet. So I thought that that would be a nice gesture without making it too girly for him. Usually I don't do a lot of peach or pink on his layout, so when I can, I definitely stick it in there. And at this point, I'm just trying to put a little bit of green, in the 2 other clusters, the one at the top and the one on the far right, just to balance it out. I do like for there to be some balance, or a visual triangle, or if I don't have 3 clusters, the 2 clusters to be on opposite sides, just so that your eye gets led through the page. And I'm going to cut my die cuts in half. I know that some people also do it, and just it's a nice way to make your die cuts stretch and get more use. I mean, because otherwise it would be hidden behind the photo mat and not being used. So I would much rather cut it and take that little bit of time. I'm lifting up the edges of the rose, and I am going to later put pop dots underneath it just to give the layout some depth and create some shadows with it. And I love doing that as well. Pop dots I go through quite frequently. And I have decided to commit with my favorite thickers. And you will see me being just a little bit OCD that I have to move the letters to be perfectly spaced. Yes, it's a problem, but I can't help myself. I hope other people have that problem too, or maybe it's just me. And I am attaching a gold tag from the Maggie Holmes die cut, and it says lovely. And having issues with my stapler. Sometimes it staples wonderfully, and other times it just, like, I don't know, the staples seem to move, and I can't figure out how they move when the stapler is closed and I haven't used it. But I think other people have had some problems with that as well. But it still works, so as long as it works, I'm fine. So at this point, I am trying to just finish my embellishment clusters, and you'll see that I ink those edges as well. And that is, that little die says recorded, and that was cut from one of the Maggie Holmes papers. That was not actually a die cut, but one of her papers has a bunch of cut aparts, and I love the little words that you can cut. So that tag on the right and that gold square never make it onto the layout, and that black camera lens never does either. Like I said, I was trying to bring some more black just to make this a little bit more masculine, but it just doesn't make it. And the other thing I'm trying to do is bring green. The rose on the left has a lot of green, and I like to try to balance out the amount of green that I have. And so I'm just messing around with different green things just to bring the visual triangle. And I have to apologize. I obsess over this top cluster, and obsessed to the point where I thought I needed to be committed. It was just disgusting. I moved that gold doily piece more times than I can count, trying to figure out what I could put behind it, what I could do, to bring the green up. I wasn't happy with this, I wasn't happy with that. And finally, I just stick something down, and it looks fine. I don't know why I had to make it so hard. And I got my Martha Stewart butterfly punch out, and I'm going to add 3 butterflies in the cluster. And I love that Martha Stewart punch, and I have several of hers that have butterflies. And I know that the butterfly trend, was really big, and then it kind of wavered. I don't do it a lot, but when I do it, I really love them. And it just worked with this layout. See, there I go again, trying to make that top cluster. And when I can't get it, I just go to my other 2 clusters to finish those. And at this point, you see that I'm adding the pop dots underneath the rose. I like that. It gives it a little bit of shadow on the layout. And I am taking my Wink of Stella pen and coloring in the rose. And I later go back and color in the leaves. That may not be on the video though. And if you have not bought a Wink of Stella pen, oh my gracious, you just don't know what you're missing. It gives the loveliest sheen of glitter, but it's not thick like Stickles. It's very, very fine. Now, I'll tell you, these pens may be like $6 or $7. I was able to get a 3-pack though for about the price of 1 or 2 pens. And the pack that I got was the clear gold and silver. And they're just so nice. And you have to try them out yourself to appreciate just how wonderful they are. But it just adds that little bit of special touch to certain things. And you can't really see the glitter finish as of now, but I'm hoping in the close-ups that at the end that you'll be able to. And I do like to, as I said, cut my die cuts in half and try to get them to work as I'm trying to get that piece to work, since I just cut it. And because a lot of times if I can't get the piece to work on on that layout, I end up not being able to use it just for whatever reason. So I really tried, but it was not going to work. And here I am messing with that cluster again. And at this point, I decide this is enough, just stick it down. So I did. And I did put pop dots under their wings as well. I just love the little bit of shadow, the little bit of change in depth. If I have an absolute flat page, I just can't stand it. Other people, it looks great, but on me, it has to have something that's raised, something that has the shadow effect. Now here I am pulling out my Heidi Swapp Color Shine. I love those mists just like everybody else loves it. And I'm doing a little bit of gold and a little bit of coral. Black would have looked nice, but I have not perfected that black splatter. There are some people that just have the perfect black splatters, and mine just look like blobs, but not pretty blobs. So I'm going to have to practice with that. I think it might be the type of ink that I'm using. I'm using India ink, but I think somebody else was saying that they used a different one. Jenny Box, I think, was using a different one. I've got to send her a message and find out which one. And the final thing that I'm doing is putting enamel dots in my clusters. I have way too many enamel dots and I need to get them used. And again, I make this more difficult than it should be. I can look at somebody else's layout and tell you exactly where enamel dots would look great. But when it comes to my layout, it's like a big stumbling block. I'm not sure why. So I will mess around with these enamel dots as well far too long. gray enamel dots never make it. I end up with just a couple of different shades of that peach that actually make it onto the layout. Again, see that top cluster? It was, my nemesis. And I was trying not to use any of my new packages or my unopened packages of enamel dots. I wanted to get the ones used up that had partial packages. And they end up with the larger ones, and I have a harder time using those larger ones. So I keep on trying to check and make sure that I like the way it looks. And at this point, I'm starting to get disgusted. And I just say it's done. So here is my first process video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much. Have a great day. And if you can think of anything that would make it easier or anything that I should be doing, please leave me a comment. I appreciate it. Thanks.